All right. Well, I'm going to share a screen, and looks like you've gotten all the work done for module 1, which is videos 3, 4, 5, and 6. 1 and 2 were completely introductory. So great job navigating Google Docs. It's live editable. So right now you and I are here together. So any edits can be made. I don't usually edit your document unless you ask me to. So you are more than welcome to hop in there and make edits as we go along. So
Well, and to your point, I look forward to your edits. I was pretty excited about the notion that you could
okay,
start, remarking, replying, giving me
of
feedback at
course.
any time. So I love that that's a mutual working document like that.
Great. Okay, wonderful, wonderful. And I'm excited also that you are coming next week, and that's going to be 100% real estate focused. And so it's going to be we've already got 15 people in person, and I think that event's going to turn into 25 plus by the time it's done. So it's going to be a great networking opportunity.
So I'm going to both things on the 26th and the 27th.
That's right. 27th is purely online, and that's 27th is just for folks who are in the program, but the 26th is open to anybody. So
Yep.
you will never run out of, I told you, instruction and coaching in my program. You're never going to be wondering, like, what am I paying for? Like, it's going to keep coming, and you're going to be like, slow down is what you're going to say. So, all right, let's hop in here. Let me share a screen. And I've got your video 3 here pulled up. So discovering your best. This is the only time in the program we're really going to delve into this video alone is really the only time we delve into someone else's book. And so we talk about John Maxwell here. Module 2, we talk a little bit about that one sentence persuasion method that I mentioned last week. But I wanted to lay the groundwork for this to get started. This is doing a SWOT analysis, essentially. Have you ever done anything like a SWOT analysis before?
Yeah, it's been a lot of years ago. It was a long, long time ago. But yeah, and I have a degree in psychology and
Mhm.
so I've, exposed to those things, done those things, but it's been a long time ago. I know.
Well, and you know what? I knew you had talked about your background, which definitely gives you an advantage here. But it's good to come back, a couple years later, because we grow and we change. I spent an entire year after having taught school and preaching for, at that point in time, 10, 12 years. And I spent an entire year working on my delivery. And I read a bunch of books that year, and I changed my style and my delivery because I just thought, I think I'm improving, but how do you know? And so every now and then it's just good to go back and do a review of strengths and weaknesses and opportunities and threats and interests. So let's hop in here. But I knew you would have an advantage here because of your background. So strengths. So you've got compassionate and empathetic, which you demonstrated the moment we started the Zoom call. You did just your compassion and your love for your friend and her mom. Like, we walked into this call and it's the first thing you did. And so definitively one of your strengths. Take charge of a situation. And I'll tell you, that is often a juxtaposition for people. Compassion and taking charge are often separated, and they're often not opposites, but they're rarely put into the same category. So that puts you in a unique situation as a realtor, because you're able to say, listen, I totally understand where you guys are at. It's a difficult market. Maybe you had some credit challenges, but I'm the person who's going to be able to do this. And those two things make you very attractive in the marketplace. Organized, methodical when planning. Love it. Communication, ability to make anyone feel like they're the most important person in the room. Respectful, loyal, kind, funny. People want to be your friend and associate you. Wonderful, wonderful. Generous and loving. Good decorator. That's interesting. And an event planner. And so protective of the people you love. That means you'll cut somebody if you got to. I get it, and educated, always seeking to learn, writing skills, great strategy in my business, great team builder, extroverted, animated, driven by the need for success. Now, if I hadn't looked over this portion right here already, and all I read was this. in an objective manner, I would say this person does not know themselves. Now, I'm not saying that about you. I'm not. But if all I got was this, I'd be like, I'm concerned. But you actually gave yourself more weaknesses than strengths. And so I gotta encourage you because of that. Because if all I got was this, it would be like, I'm concerned. I really am. But so great job. I'm not praising you for over emphasizing your weaknesses. I'm encouraging you because of your understanding of both of that. So I'm not going to hit every one of these because I don't want you to feel beaten up. But your procrastination.
I tell you, I don't. I'm here for it.
Okay. Okay.
I'm here for it. I'm only going to grow if I am hitting everything in reality.
Okay.
So you're not going to be beating me up.
Okay. Well, then let's so you're a procrastinator when you need to do something that other people will see me succeed or fail publicly. So explain that sentence to me a little bit.
Video and social media in particular.
Hmm.
Because of what I do on a limited basis with like my car videos and things like that, it generates, everyone's remark is always love your energy. It's all about my energy and fun, makes them laugh, it makes them engaged, that type of thing. And oh gosh, Gordon, this is the raw stuff, right? I receive constant praise from everyone in regard to my business. You were meant for this. This is your thing. You are a rock star. You are this, you are this, you are this. And the thought of putting out something that does not receive that same type of feedback makes me hold back from doing it.
Okay.
I don't want to. I made one video one day. I believe it was my 9/11 video, and it started out kind of upbeat, but my true authentic self was very emotional that day. We are a military family. I have a son serving in the military. We have lost friends in the course of all the projected war since 9/11, and I became emotional, and so it de-escalated from my rah pretty quickly. I became a little tearful. I became very know that I love you, that God loves you, that reach out to me, don't be alone today. It became authentic in that way, and there was some reactions to that, like are you okay? Do you need a nap? It was the very first time that people were like, oh, that's not Christy's normal thing. So I will not try something. I know that I have not dove into all the possibilities of online social media stuff for fear of rejection or negative feedback on it.
Is it a fear of criticism, or is it a fear of people seeing you being vulnerable?
Perhaps it's anyone. I don't know. I think this is something I'm having, that this is an onion about me that I'm going to have to peel back and really, maybe I just don't fully understand what I'm afraid of. I think it's being public, not my SOI. My SOI, they know me, they love me in all of my ways. They know me and love me for the things that are my strengths. I think it is the public being afraid to, what if I don't succeed at becoming a true community influencer, social media, wonderful. What if this doesn't work? Because I lack something, because I don't know, because everyone is always, you should, you're so awesome, you'd be so great at this, blah, 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 blah. But What if I'm not? What if I'm incapable
Mhm.
of learning how to do all this stuff that everyone does on social media? You
Yeah.
know,
I mean, I applaud your vulnerability because it wasn't negative. Vulnerability that's negative, I encourage people to keep to themselves or a circle that can actually be involved with. Vulnerability that demonstrates your integrity, I mean, I think is a value. I do. I hear in you a sense of a fear of failure,
yes,
um, and, and I do understand that. I do. But again, when it's tied to vulnerability of integrity, I don't think you have to be concerned about that. Now, I do know some people create and this is why our sessions go so long. So I had a pastor mentor, and I agreed with him in so many ways, but this is one of those areas that we always went back and forth on. When you're a pastor, you can lead from wounds or you can lead from scars. So when you lead from scars, you can say, I had this problem and this shortcoming, but I've now overcome it. Here I am. That's leading from a scar. When you lead from a wound, you say, I presently struggle with this. Now, he was old school, older than I was. He passed when I was 45, and he was probably about 65 of that. So we were definitely different generations. He said pastors can only lead from scars. You can't walk through your present vulnerabilities with your church. You gotta, and I understood that, but I didn't always agree with him. I said, well, I do understand there's some areas of pastor struggle that need to be kept to a tight circle. I agree with that. But for the most part, I think we're in a generation where you need a leader who's walking with you in vulnerability. There's not a right or wrong answer in that. I understand both. I do. In my social media profile personality right now, I'm probably 75% what he said. I'm 75% walking through scars. My wounds are more personal, like my struggles with epilepsy and that kind of thing. So for you, that's part of what I think you're wrestling with right now is, well, if I'm going to share my weakness, what am I sharing? Am I sharing what I'm presently walking through, or am I going to share, hey, this is something I have walked through? I'm not going to tell you which one of those is best for you because it truly is up to each person to decide. But I think what I hear from you in that situation is that in that 9/11 video, you shared from a wound, and that's really okay in that situation because the wound is tied to, forgive me, your brand. You are patriotic, you are military, you are reach out and support. So in those situations, that level of vulnerability is 100% okay because it's part of your brand. That's who you are. Now, if you told me you're walking through vulnerabilities and you were working out your frustration with the present administration or something like that, and I'm making that up, I would say, Christy, you need to keep that to yourself.
you are
Uh,
correct.
because if you have that present wound, I respect that, but that is not going to help your brand at this point in time. Work
I
that out in private with your circle of trust.
I do agree with you. You've said that, before about, politics, religion, whatever else it was that is so divisive in our nation. You will never see me post about those things. If I see someone post something, I want to have a conversation. They're in my world. I will talk to them privately. I do not know because if my stuff is public, everyone who sees it does not know me, does not know my heart, does not know my thing, and things can be misconstrued and whatever and turn into a shit show, and I'm not doing it. So,
Well, so in this is the reality of being a public figure. If you share vulnerability, it has to be consistent with your brand. I know that sounds very PR marketing, but it's true. Because to be honest with you, Christy, when you share 911 and military support, you are going to be, that is divisive. You know, I mean, there are people out there who are not patriotic in that sense. And that's fine. You want to sell them a house and buy, you know, you want to sell them a house too. But if you're going to share vulnerability, it's okay. I want to make sure for you, that weakness, it's okay to be concerned about it. Just make sure that the vulnerability you share is still consistent with who you are. So if I share with folks that I'm struggling, I did that about 3 weeks ago. I shared, I'm having an off brain day. And I rarely do this. I rarely ever, I was like, I'm not thinking very clearly. I'm slow. Yesterday was a big day. I'm having to take the morning off. And I almost never do that. But it's consistent with my brand because people know running, epilepsy, those things are all part of who I am. And every now and then, people need to know I'm not a robot. Every now and then, people need to know that I'm not just optimism, business, optimism. Every now and then, people need to know I'm a human being. And so that day I did it. And you know what? I got great support on it. But the vulnerability is consistent with my branding. So I understand your fear of failure in that. You don't have to fear it as long as it's consistent with who you are. So that would be my encouragement. Time management implementation, that's part of what we're going to be working on here, because we want to address weaknesses and minimize their impact. That's okay. We're all going to have weaknesses. We just want to minimize their impact. And so we're going to be working on that in terms of helping you with content and that kind of thing. Planning to do so many things and doing nothing because everything seems like a priority. Well, you've done a great job of making this part a priority. We'll work on the other things as we go. Rarely prioritizing myself. I get caught up in thinking about what I'm failing at. My depression takes over, and then I procrastinate more and feel worse, and on it goes. I overbook myself. So thank you for sharing that vulnerability with me. I appreciate it. I know that with the goals of this program and the number of things I have in it, it can be overwhelming. And that's why I only share it bit by bit. So I don't want this to add to that right there. I don't want this to be an element of it. I'm only going to give you as much as you can take. So don't let this feel like overwhelming. Like, so I have folks one weekend who already feel behind. I'm like, you don't need to feel behind one weekend. I'll let you know if we're falling behind. Don't let this add to that. Okay. What were you going to say, Kristen?
What I'm trying to do is to raise our focus on this program and to let the other thing, you know, I met with other agents yesterday and we had coffee and we were talking about all of the things, you know, that we need to be doing and all the kind of stuff. And they were asking me about this coaching program and, you know, whether you were, you know, they have coaches that are realtor specific, you know, and I think they were questioning whether this was going to be, you know, what I needed. And I said, but I made a choice that what I wanted to focus in on this year was growing my business. And that means social media. And that means, you know, learning all these skills. So I believe this is perfect for me. And I have to not let what everybody else is telling me they're doing and working on get in my head like, oh my God, I need to be doing all of that too. So I hope that this is going to be challenging. I get that. My bigger challenge is to try to let all of this other stuff that I'm not doing too make this overwhelming because I feel like I should be doing that too. Does that make sense?
100%. And so, and I'm glad you're talking through it with your, you know, with your contemporaries and the folks that you're working with. I really am. You know, it's funny, just on a side note, like in 2024, I'm probably going to create an entire page that just calls it real estate marketing because 60% of who I work with is in the industry. And folks, you know, they'll look at the Feeney and those other guys and they can't get over the hump. And I'm like, I respect those guys a ton, but this is real estate marketing. I mean, in its essence. And so, but yeah, I'm glad you're talking through it. And again, the whole point is we're going to do it in a sequential way that it builds and builds and builds. So hopping back in here, I get it. The ego to be wanted. That's the nature of sales, though. I mean, it is. I mean, the best realtors, real estate agents want that. And it's a battle. It's a battle of the ego. It really is, because if you're wanted, you're successful. There aren't any like low key super successful real estate agents. At some point in time, you have to move forward into the audience. And so I recognize that, yeah, this weakness right here, in its essence, can wind up being a strength for you as long as you don't let it, go to your head. But I recognize that. I love to participate in everything and make things happen. Again, it might be a weakness, but it can definitively be a strength when focused correctly. And then have things I'm doing for others give me permission not to. Okay, let me read this again. And then having things I'm doing for others give me permission to not do the things I know I should be doing for myself and my business. Is that like personal self-care items? Is that what you're talking about there?
No. It's like they're like Sherry, who's a dear friend, asking me to be in, FABA, asking me to be in this, asking me, the people, Lauren at FAR asked me to chair the committee for the historical, Christmas tour thing. This morning, my neighborhood is having a national night out and they need volunteers. And what I'm saying is that when there's a project or a thing or an activity, I'm quick to jump into everything. I like to participate in everything and do all of that. And then I can tell myself, well, I can't work on my business things because I'm too busy participating in these events. That's what that means.
Okay. Well, let me attach that to this right here. So I waste a lot of time on Facebook chatting with friends or even colleague friends, and I'm lonely, and the interaction is wonderful. I'll stop the share for a minute. It makes it easier for me to look at you. So I understand that. I do. Like as extroverted as I am, there's often a day that goes by that I only hear from anybody if I engage the interaction, because everyone just thinks I'm busy. And so, I could go an entire day and not a human being will reach out to me unless I reach out to them. Now, I am extroverted, but I'm definitely learning more alone time. But it can be lonely in that. So I'm just going to share what's helped me, and if it helps you, wonderful. It might be a strategy, or it might not. But it's very easy. It's very tempting, as you've just mentioned, to waste time just kind of chatting to people that ultimately doesn't help us in any way other than a human reaction and interaction. And I get that. I mean, sometimes you get tired of eating lunch by yourself. What's helped me in that is understanding specifically what I need, and then making sure that the interaction I'm getting is that. So during my day, and you and I both get to determine what our day looks like, but we'll just call it the daylight hours, right? Well, during my 8 to 5s, what is that interaction serving? If it's just serving company, it's probably not serving our biggest goal. It's not. If it's business related and supporting and encouraging and those things specifically, yeah. But if it's not, then I'm just gonna ask myself, is it really filling the need that I have at this present moment? And during my day, I could easily, much like I'm sure you could too, just fill it full of interaction that it doesn't ultimately help me in any way. And that's part of how we counter that. What is this interaction serving? If it's loneliness, then we'd probably be better off targeting a single interaction with a person during a day. But it's easy to just kind of spot our day with a conversation here, a text here, chat about nothing here. That doesn't really make us feel any better, not in the big picture. Because at the end of the day, you're like, oh, I wasted so much time. So if I need interaction that's going, then I reduce it. Hey, do you have time from 1 to 2 for a lunch or a drink or a coffee? And then that fills me. And then the other time is targeted. Because at the end of the day, the only thing that's going to make me feel bad is I didn't accomplish enough in my business. That's the
It's
only thing
true.
that's going to make me feel bad.
Yeah, it is true. And, being an EXP agent specifically, we are not brick and mortar at all. So from day one, as a licensed agent, here's where, I was. And my sponsor to EXP and my mentor that I joined up underneath her because she was here locally and we were going to be shoulder to shoulder. I was going to be learning, teaching, being mentored to learn how to do this business. The day after I signed up, she told me that they were going to move to Florida 6 weeks later.
Mm.
And so that felt catastrophic, because you get your license, it's like a little mini law school.
Right.
You don't learn how this is a OJT career. And I was like, who am I going to on the job train with? It was horrible. So the dynamic of my brokerage can't it just be very isolating.
Sure.
So it's just the interactions with my mother-in-law, my cousin, my friend, also my colleagues. But I'm just recognizing that I have no boundaries. I don't have like, okay, I get up at a certain time, I allow myself to have my coffee time and my social time, and then I have set business hours. I have not done that. And so I recognize that is the weakness that I was trying to, to pinpoint there. Maybe that's a better explanation.
And I get it completely. And when we do allow our chat time or whatever it looks like in the midst of our business hours, the hard question to ask ourselves is, what purpose is this serving? And it comes down to the topic of the conversation. Because so many of our conversations, I have no idea what your conversations are like, but so many of them are really not useful. They're about meaningless things. And we've got to train our brain to not care about meaningless things. And that's hard because we enjoy the interaction. And I want positivity. I want business growth. I want those things there. Like I used to just fill my hours with sports. Like I just don't care anymore. But it took me a long time. I would love to sit down and talk about it. But that for me, if I'm going to, it's got to be reserved to a time where it's not taking away where I'm supposed to be making money. Because your family, my family, we depend on the money that comes in. And I can't tell my daughter, hey, I can't help you with XYZ in college because I spent an hour chatting about the Dallas Cowboys at 2:00 on a Thursday when I'm supposed to be making money, but I have to say those things. Like I have to say that to myself. My daughters need me to make more money, and talking about the gossip in the real estate industry is not helping me make more money. Or talking about, again, Cowboys or the movie that came out. I love talking about all those things. Just can't take away when I'm supposed to be making money. And so it's just the hard questions. It really is. But I get it. I'm glad you recognize it. And people will not always respect that new boundary. Hey, I can't talk right now. Let's talk in the evening. And the hardest ones for me in that have been family. Just being my family has not understood that. I talk to them so much less. My parents are gone, so it's brothers and my siblings don't get it. So it's just one of those things, one of those sacrifices. Like, this is my goal. This is what I got to do. This is how I eat. No offense, I can't talk to you right now. But I'm glad you recognize it. Let me pull this back up real quick. Okay. Talk about wasting a lot of time. You're pretty quick to be annoyed with weak-minded people and poor customer service. Yep. Not going to beat you up on that part at all. I'm very sensitive and emotional, but only those closest to me see that generally. You know, I that might be a weakness. It's only a weakness if there are people that you should be vulnerable with that you're not, and I don't know who that would be. You're going to know that your heart better on that, but I hold anything and everything that would show weakness to anyone outside of my circle. And again, I'm glad we talked about this up here before this year. It's okay to show vulnerability. Like, your vulnerable is the trusted view, and that circle should get smaller, should get rather tiny. Any other vulnerability is consistent with your brand, because there's the people you trust, and then when you're an agent and you're in marketing, there's the people you trust, and the rest of the world is branding. And it's just it's the stark honesty. And so you've got to decide, are there people I should be vulnerable with? I'm not. Otherwise, who's the tight circle? And then I love this. Yeah, you get it. Like geography, sense of direction, and technology. You know, thank God for Waze or Google Maps, whatever's getting you wherever you got to go. Outside of the drone places I go every day, I use Waze, but I use it because I'm efficient. I just don't want to get stuck in traffic. But
me too. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Even when I'm going places, my family laughs at me. They're like, you know, we're just going to Fredericksburg, right? Don't you go? I'm like, yeah, but there may be a wreck down the road, and Waze will, you know, get me out of this situation. So
well, I do it a lot. I do it less than Amy. Amy does it for every single drive. But then again, my Amy doesn't know the difference between north and south, and she'll admit it. We'll cross 95 and she's like, oh, we're going to get stuck in traffic. And I'm like, sure, we're not going in that direction. But that's fine. And then we're working on this. You've already conquered Google Docs, so you're doing great with that. And I think fear of failure came back up to the succeed or fail publicly. Those are connected really well. Real quick, floral design. Did I tell you I grew up in a flower shop and my parents owned a flower shop? I forgot. So crafting, photography, interior design all make you a good realtor. I know that. Man, scrapbooking was huge. Oh my goodness. Like late 90s. Holy cow, everybody. I mean, my oldest has a scrapbook. Meredith and none of the others do.
Even in the early 2000s when what Creative Memories, that company, I own everything. I did everything. I would have gone to college for interior design. That's where I was headed when Darren and I got married, and I had to go to Fort Polk, Louisiana, and the university in Louisiana did not have that, did not have that capability, and so I went to psychology instead. But no, it's very, very helpful in this business. You know, creativity, staging, decorating, helping people know how to, declutter their home, how to prepare for all of that, stuff. So that's one of the reasons why this field is also, perfect for me, built on my strengths and helps me be happy and excited about doing those things,
Yeah, and I get it. And when you're interviewing your potentials, I mean, letting them know that makes a huge difference, because very few people have an interior aesthetic. I mean, my dad was an interior designer. My mom was a flower shop. I care. I'm the one who does that in our house. I pick out the art. I design the room. I get it. And Amy's got a great eye for it too, but she knows spatially. She's like, you got to figure out this room. Did we talk Dallas Cowboys?
No, when I just heard you say Dallas Cowboys a while ago, and I was like, oh, are you my buddy?
My middle daughter's name is Landry.
Dude, that is amazing. Hooray!
So now listen, I have no hope in our team. I'm the most disillusioned Dallas Cowboy fan on the face of the planet.
I know.
I've told Amy and my daughters this. I will never get excited again until we win a second playoff game, and that hasn't happened since 1995. But my daughter, my Landry is named after Tom Landry of the Dallas Cowboys, and
That's awesome.
So I keep my head down. I don't talk about it a whole lot anymore. My days of bragging are long gone.
Yeah.
Real estate TV shows, which I think is valuable as long as it's not a waste of time. You know, I mean, like there's a million marketing podcasts, and they're valuable if they're pointed, but they can be a waste of time too. And you got to figure that. Listen, I read Ryan Serhant, signed up for the course, went through it. You know, those things have value as long as they're not a waste of time.
Yeah.
So TVs and movies, that's what my family does in our evenings. But yeah, social media possibilities, that is absolutely, you keep that interest going, and then in 12 months, you know, that's what we've talked about. Absolutely transformed. And then shoes, purses, and jewelries. Be an agent that always looks put together, Christy. You've got that. I don't get agents who don't take their appearance seriously. I don't get marketing people. I mean, listen, have your style. If you're low-key style, great. You still have to walk into the room and say you can do things that are $500,000 or $1 million. So if you've got your style, stop it. If I go out in public on a Tuesday to a networking event and I don't look like I can talk to a millionaire doesn't want to talk to me. And if you go to one of these events and you don't look like you can handle in Stafford a $750,000 house, they're going to go and talk to the person who can. It doesn't matter what your background is.
So I am a dress up, maxed out, all of that stuff, and I raised very much that way. When I go to a listing appointment, it's very we have to be aware of who our audience is.
Yes.
You know, I have to know the level of, you know, is this a $200,000 house? Is it $800,000 house? Are these people educated? Are they uneducated? Are they country? Are they city? Are they, you know, I know those types of things. And I do dress and approach based on how I know they will be comfortable with me. This shirt that I have on, my little realtor shirt here. So I have a lot of what I'll call realtor swag. You know, I wear this type of thing wherever I'm going, because I'm hoping that it will spark a conversation. Somebody might say, "Oh, you're a realtor?" You know, we're doing whatever. It's a conversation starter, but that's different from what I do in an appointment thing. But you know, if I'm going to Walmart, if I'm going to the store, I'm out about doing whatever. Also, once I have clients as buyers, knowing who they are and what their style is, if they're dressy folks, I'm maxed out dressy. If they are comfortable folks, I'm wearing my realtor swag, and everybody loves it, comments on it. You know, oh my God, that's so cute. You know, whatever. Thinking about my brand yesterday, I wanted to do a video so bad yesterday. I wanted to do a swag and shoes. You'll learn that about me, that I always have some freaking blinged out shoes or some kind of super thing. And I was like, man, that could be something, like when I'm thinking about, you know, your coffee time or whatever, because I do something, you know, like this. If I had a, you know, swag and shoes, who are you swagging for today? This was my thought yesterday, was a conversation starter, which, who are you swagging for today? You know, is it your kid's school? Is it your favorite sports team? Is it your personal business? I'm swagging for me as a realtor today. You know, let me know who are you swagging for today? And then on a day that I'm not wearing this type of thing, I always have some type of fabulous shoes, you know, and so I could, you know, still have this conversation, but make a point about my shoes and my ruffle socks. That's kind of a thing for me. I have a giant tutu that I wear when I have listing closings. My ruffle socks and my bling shoes. It's just something that I'm like, how can I build on that? Maybe that
I definitely think that needs to be part of your brand. I really do. I think it's got a lot of connectivity with potential audience. It's probably going to connect, when we get to module 2, which is like video 7, 8, 9, 10, we're going to start nailing down your target audience, like who you're speaking to online. And the same approach that you take with, I dress this way for 500,000 people, but this for 200,000 other people, is going to be the same way we craft your brand online. And so that means if you go that route, you're probably targeting women. Great. When it comes down to it, the majority of home buyers and sellers, those decisions are made by the women of the household. So we'll talk about that. I like that branding a lot. I really do. So yeah, keep that in mind. And maybe just begin playing with it a little bit online as well, photo or video. I think that's really, really smart. So we're definitely going to come back to that when we get to those videos. Opportunities. So coaching, participating in more FAR events, networking with coworkers, attending community events, committees, marketing in my community, connecting with military bases, definitely where you are there in your background. Becoming an influencer on social media, by learning and doing what I learned, and then taking advantage of all the free training authors. Yeah, EXP offers a lot. I know they do. And take advantage of it. Use that to supplement this. And then investigating all that your brokerage has to offer. I'll say this about EXP, and I'll do a strength weakness. I do think because they are decentralized, that they do a good job of offering a lot of training. I do. And then there's a lot of videos and things that you guys offer. The weakness of that is that sometimes the personal implementation of coaching is not there because of that. And every EXP agent I know walks around with a sense of guilt. Like, I got all this training and I'm not taking advantage of it. And so it's interesting. You're right. They've done a great job of like, follow this training, but then there's also sometimes a sense of like, oh, I'm not following all the training. So I would say definitively pursue what they have, but don't go so wide that it's like I'm getting lost in the internet. If you're going to go into EXP training, decide what's the thing I need from them right now. That's all I'm going to pursue. Because there's so much out there, it just becomes the YouTube real estate training, and that's too broad. That's too much. So yeah, my encouragement to you would be, it definitely pursue what they offer, but do it very strategically. I need this thing, something probably beyond what you and I are working on, so it's not duplicitous. This thing I'm going to go learn today. That would be my recommendation for you on that. But yeah, every EXP agent I know is like, oh, I'm not doing enough. And it's interesting. You guys all beat yourself up.
Well, so very specifically KV Core, our CRM, I have just not, dove into that. That is what I have. I don't know how to do drip campaigns. I don't know how to do all of the things. And with my friends yesterday, they're like, yeah, I'm looking at Chime, or I'm looking at, whatever CRMs, because KV Core is just so complicated, or it doesn't, it's not intuitive, or whatever. And I'm like, well, I think I'm getting a CRM from Gordon. So I'm looking for, my hope is that I'm going to not only receive that, but be trained how to use it. And
100%. And so, and Christy, I would offer this, as you get comfortable, this is a personal ask, give me an opportunity to talk to them, because our CRM is so simple. And I do drip campaign training. So we're going to get to all of that, because you're right. Every realtor needs that. 100%. Every company needs drip campaign training. It just is one of those things that everyone says they need to do, and they don't do. And so once we get beyond module 2, video 7, 8, 9, 10, I'm going to literally give you a drip campaign. All you have to do is cut and paste your specific industry in it. But I'm like, hey, here's 8 emails. Go copy it. These work. And so I had one client who did one email and got, you know, a $1,200 response to it. And I know you're doing larger numbers than that. It was a different industry, but yeah, we're going to get to that because it just gets too complicated. You're like, oh, I should do a drip campaign. I should do a landing page. I should do a seminar. And you're like, when the heck am I going to do all this stuff? So,
Well, I should do follow up for something because I am not following up.
yeah.
I am about to go out and do my pop buys for the fall.
Uh-huh.
You know what that is?
Yeah.
Okay. So for all of my past clients for the past 3 years, I did it last October. I haven't done a single thing since last October. I haven't touched my past clients since last October. Other than whoever is friended me after our thing, or we have some, but I have not specifically made an effort to do all of my touches and to do all those things. That is a goal, to get organized, a plan, and execute.
Yep.
On that.
Yep. And you know that the first sale is the greatest, but realtors build their livelihood by multiple sales and multiple referrals. And so I get it. I followed up on a lead from seminar before the one you came to, and they thanked me for following up. They're like, hey, thanks for following up. Like, it's just, we're not on the front. We're not on their radar. We're just not. And someone you're going to hit is going to thank you for following up. And we think, oh, I'm annoying them or bugging them. Like, someone, though, is going to say, I'm so glad you followed up. And that's what we got to remember, that, anybody who's annoyed with us will just tell us to stop or ignore us. It's fine. But someone was like, I'm so glad you reached out. What you don't want to hear is, man, I wish you'd reached out last month. And you're like, oh, that's what we don't want to hear. But you're right. All right, let's maximize these last couple of minutes here. These sessions go quickly. They really do. All right, 3 kinds of people. Yeah, we finished that up. 3 kinds of people when it finds direction. So people who know what they would like to do, that's you. People who know what they want to do but don't do it, also you. And then people who know what they want to do and do it, who you want to be. You're 100% right. Our goal is to make you as much of this person as possible. As much, just become singularly focused, that people are like, what has happened to you? And you're like, I'm becoming the person I want to be. If we do this right, people are going to be like, Christy, you've changed. And you're like, good. Roll with me or not. So do you know what to do so you can want to do it? So your awareness, you want to become conscious of every choice I make. Everything is a choice. Every choice affects every aspect of every other life.
These are my notes I took. Things that are in blue like that, I was just making notes when I was watching the video.
And I appreciate that. I really do. I love it when clients color code their answers in their notes. It makes me so happy, because otherwise I'm like, did I write that? Have you read anything by Jocko Willink? No. So he's a former Navy SEAL, tough to read sometimes, to interact with. He's so brusque. He has a book called Radical Accountability. And it comes from being a Navy SEAL. And he's like, listen, everything in your life is your fault. Now I'm going to soften this, so hang in there. But he's like, everything in your life is your fault. He's like, like, that person hurt me. He's like, you decide whether you get hurt or not. At the end of the day, the shape you're in is your fault. What you ate at the end of the day, your fault. What you posted on social media, your fault. Now, I agree with him, but I don't take his approach, because there's very few people, mindset-wise, can ultimately live in that realm. But we do decide when we wake up, am I going to work out or not? Am I going to eat or not? Am I going to have my devotion or not? Am I going to follow up or not? The book Atomic Habits says, we don't rise to the level of our goals. We fall to the level of our systems. So, and that is insanely true. So with what you just shared right there, the goal then is, let's create a system so that we're not beating ourselves up every day. I didn't do that. And so with my running schedule, you can beat yourself up so badly if you hit your numbers or do it or don't. The only way to ease that is just to create a system, and you don't skip from it. I have to run 6 days a week. I don't have any choice. I've got to run. I've got to hit a certain number. The only way to do that is with a system. And you know what? My system includes 1 day a week where I choose not to run in the morning and run in the afternoon. I love running in the morning, but there's some days you're like, I cannot go run in the dark again today. And that, I mean, I face that every single day. It's fine. I give myself 1 day a week where I'm like, you know what? This morning, I'm going to take it easy and I'm going to go run this afternoon. Because I used to beat myself up if I didn't run in the morning, but I'm like, I don't need to do that. Just pick 1 day a week. It's fine. So I even create days that allow me the deviation of that. So again, for you, I didn't mean to go on that too long here, but when you talked about becoming conscious of every choice, we do need to become conscious of every choice. But if we don't have a system for that, it will eat us up, will lead into guilt. It'll lead into depression or whatever the case may be.
Hold on 1 second.
Sure.
The lawn people that take care of my lawn also do my neighbor, and they're not supposed to be mowing my grass this week because it was aerated and seeded.
Yeah.
And the sound make it sound like it was in my yard. Sorry.
Yeah. You're like, what are you doing in my yard? I get it. So the last takeaway of that is, I mean, we do want to be conscious of every decision. The only way that doesn't destroy us is to put together a system. But then you become very systemized. I mean, I tell my family I can be very annoying to live with. I really can, because I try to create a system for every single thing, and no one has to do it the way I do it. It's fine. I don't judge you. You got your own system. In my household, my younger daughter is me. My middle daughter is not me. Great. It's totally fine. But yeah, I like it. We do want to become aware of every choice, as long as we create a system to keep us from going crazy. If you want to begin, you have to begin. You're right. It's either 1 day or day one. I agree with you on that. That cliche is 100% true. We're either going to do it 1 day or today is day one or the other. So give the freedom to someone to hold me accountable truly. Find the accountable as dang near possible. Everyone's so busy with their own stuff. You're right, Christy. I mean, I'm helping you. But I mean, I'll be honest with you, I have to find accountability for slices of my life. I don't have a friend who is hardcore about running and hardcore about business and family oriented. Like, I don't have the one. I wish that I have beautiful friends. I really do. But Danny is running. Larson is business. I mean, like, unfortunately, it just kind of has to be divided up that way, and then, Leonard is family. I would love to have the all-encompassing accountability person, but I don't, and it's fine. But, you just have to find the people who, like, and by accountability, like, when it comes to, and forgive me for all the running analogies, for running, you can say, oh, I don't feel like doing it today. And you got a friend like, why don't you take a day off? What I need is a person to say, get off your ass, excuse me, go do it. That's what I need. Yeah, I have a tendency to cuss every now and then. Christy, let me know if I
have a military family. You understand? Anything that you say is going to be much lower key than what I hear on the regular.
I always have to ask. There's only one or two that I've got. I go too far with, but I just want to make sure I don't violate your sensibilities. Okay, a couple more things, and we're going to wrap up and talk about what you do between what we do next time. Okay, so let's start doing that. So we barely got through here. We had this first section, really, 3 and 4 take a lot of time. 5 and 6 go fairly quickly in terms of the first module. So I don't have video homework for you to do in terms of video 7, 8, 9, because we're just not there yet. So what we're going to do is you and I are going to set up a time to talk next week. Your simple goal right now is, knowing yourself in your market, is to do daily content between now and the next time we talk.
So when are we we haven't gone over any of the homework portions of any of these first modules. We just really
I'm
talked
gonna
about
walk
the
through
notes.
every single thing you've done in each one of those. So I walk through your notes and your homework. So
Okay.
so the next time we will finish 3 and probably all of 4 and 5. I mean, 5 and 6 go really quickly. But yeah, so I walk through every single thing you put on that piece of paper. That's what we do. So you and I are going to meet early next week and try to finish up this. My encouragement to you between now and then is to do daily social media content until we meet again. So what does your early next week look like? Let me tell you, like, what does your Tuesday morning look like next week?
So I am free Tuesday morning. I don't have an appointment until 2 o'clock that afternoon.
Okay. How about 10 o'clock on Tuesday?
Okay.
Okay. And then we're going to keep the same Zoom link to get us there. And then I'm going to set aside, Christy, an hour and a half for that. Because I'm hoping to make these first few just take a little bit longer because I'm getting to know you and you're sharing who you are. When we get to videos like 7, 8, 9, and 10, the focus is not you. The focus is client, like target client type stuff. But this first time getting to know you, getting to know clients just takes a little bit longer to kind of dig into. But I'm hoping Tuesday we might finish all the work that you've done. I'll do my best. And then after that, you're going to jump into like creating your ideal client and start talking about target marketing for them.
What do you mean you want me to do daily content? Like on Facebook, because that's all I know how to do.
I want to make sure you post every day between now and Tuesday.
Either does it have to be a video or can it be both? And so like yesterday when I told you that I had that big idea about what I really wanted to do, and I wanted to do a video portion, and then I met with friends that were realtors, and we did our little coffee thing, our coffee flight thing. And I was like, oh man, I wish I knew how to to edit this, how to put words on there, how to do all these things, because I want everything to be so great. And I don't know how to do those. So all I know how to do is just record a little thing. And
I encourage you towards simplicity. A photo copy. Don't feel like you're taking on where you want to be right now. Right now your audience needs is to begin to see you consistently. So it can be anything personally about yourself. I just want Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. I want you to make sure you've got something on that Facebook page that's consistent with you. Don't feel like you've got to start who you're going to be yet, unless you've got something like that. But just get on there every single day on your personal page and make sure you've got something between now and Tuesday posted on there.
Does it have to be a story or a reel or just a
regular Facebook post? Just a regular Facebook post.
All right. Well, yeah. I have one ready. I can post for tomorrow. So
yeah. And so hit that, and then Tuesday, you and I are going to go deep dive. We're going to set aside an hour and a half, and hopefully we can finish this section. And then I'm going to give you a bunch of homework because the next section is really deep dive homework.
Okay.
But you're rocking and rolling. Any questions for me?
No, not yet. We're I told you in a little message that my husband calls me an apple polisher. I need feedback on my homework. I need to know, did I do it right or wrong? Well, I listen, you know what I'm saying? I am an overachiever. I'm a people pleaser. I like to be like, woo, yeah. Well, but let me tell you again, from the bottom of my heart, the one sentence that I wrote in there, I do not respect weak-minded people and people who do not know your craft. I'm paying you and working with you because I feel like you are going to teach me. And don't ever give me an excuse again. That really upset me about the Google Docs. I recognize that you were trying to help me because I was so upset
Okay.
by saying, look, you can download this, do it on a Microsoft Word, and you can email me, that. That upset me even more because that fed into my "you're too stupid to figure this out." And I am desperate to learn. I, I, it's like, okay, Christy, you have to learn how to do this. How are we going to get you that? I reckon that you were willing to do it, that you were willing to meet me. You were trying to Zoom with me. It was that was the number one thing was copy, make files, do this in Google Docs. And I was failing at task number one, which fed into all of my fears of I'm too stupid and too old to learn this and grow. So that was a huge trigger for me. I recognize that. I recognize you trying to help me. I do. I'm not upset with you about you trying to help me, but I'm wanting you to know that push me, Gordon.
Okay.
Christy, you can, and this is what you have to do. I don't want the shortcuts. I don't want that.
Well, it's really helpful for you to explain that to me. It helps me know you. It helps me know how to interact with you best. So I really appreciate that. And so, yeah, and you did it. And I'm really proud of you for doing it. You're 100% capable. And I'm going to be challenged at tons along the way. So I appreciate your vulnerability. And we're gonna knock out this module, and you're going to do 5 straight days of post. And so then I'm gonna see those, and then we're gonna get back together on Tuesday. Okay.
Okie dokie.
Christy, hey, and when I get off, I'm gonna download this, and I'm going to attach it to a private YouTube link. So it's unlisted, so no one will see that. And I will share that YouTube link with you. All you have to do is click it, and you'll have access to the whole session. Okay.
Okay.
It won't require a password. It's literally just, but it's an unlisted link. No one can see it. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Thanks, Christy. We'll talk to you later. Thanks.
All right. Bye.
Bye-bye.